What's up, guys? It's TechnoViking23 coming to you today with some commentary about Mass Effect Andromeda. And today we're actually going to be talking about some of the recent videos that have been coming out where some people have actually been getting their hands on the game, have been able to play the first few hours of the game, and they've been giving their comments and thoughts on it. There really aren't any spoilers that have been given because they've been instructed, of course, by EA and BioWare. They're not allowed to reveal too much, but several people have been given a chance to play the initial bits of the game, and I've been watching all of these videos to see so far what the consensus seems to be. Some of these sources that have been doing videos on it are not the greatest, but some of them are fairly reputable. I was actually pretty shocked when IGN did their review of what they'd played so far. They were actually fairly unbiased about it. Usually IGN is the one that, tells you to go out and buy the game, gives everything a 10 out of 10. They love Destiny, they love Call of Duty, and, they can do no wrong. But they had a surprisingly really good recap of what they played through on Andromeda. And one of the reasons I wanted to talk about this is because I did a video a long time back where I was talking about some of the concerns I had for this game. And unfortunately, a lot of these gameplay reviews they've been talking about so far are kind of reaffirming some of these concerns. And they're making me, I guess, even more concerned about the game. And still, I'm still on the fence very much whether or not I'm going to get this Mass Effect game. I love Mass Effect. I'm a huge Mass Effect fan. I have played through the original trilogy countless times. Still playing the multiplayer in Mass Effect 3. Absolutely love it. Actually, the funny thing is I was looking forward to see what they would improve with the multiplayer for Andromeda, more so than when I was interested in the actual campaign. But I'm just going to go briefly over some of the things that I heard in these videos. The IGN one was very enlightening for me as well. And unfortunately, one of the overarching themes was this is Dragon Age Inquisition in space. And that was something I said in my initial video where I really was hoping that was not going to be the case. It appears that, however, that is going to be the case with a lot of fetch quests in these kind of open world zones. It's not a true open world, but there are these big zones that are supposed to make you feel like you're in this vast open space. And that appears to be what the main thing behind the game is going to be. Some of the initial thoughts a lot of these people had were that the characters were interesting, but not quite as deep as some of the characters in the original Mass Effect trilogy. You had some shallow characters in Dragon Age that I really wasn't a huge fan of, and I think if you compare the two games, the Mass Effect series has had much better characters, at least in my opinion, than Dragon Age has. They said there's going to be the very in-depth crafting system, very similar to what was used in Dragon Age Inquisition. That's something I'm not really looking forward to, because I thought the crafting in Dragon Age Inquisition was pretty crappy, to be honest with you. They did say that you can name the items you craft, so that's very similar to Dragon Age Inquisition. But one of the very interesting things that they discussed was the fact that there are still a lot of bugs and problems with the actual game. And we're very close to launch. We're less than about a month out from launch of the game, and they said it's stuff that's not going to be able to be fixed, they don't think. So they're very much expecting a day one patch or a first week patch for Andromeda to fix some bugs and glitches they came across. They didn't really say what they were, they just said they were numerous, and there were quite a few of them. They did say the facial animations are pretty bad, so what we've been seeing in the initial trailers and gameplay for the game is pretty much what you can expect, most likely, when the game comes out at launch. That's something I've been very critical of. That's something that they've had a problem with throughout the Mass Effect series, even a little bit in Dragon Age, is getting their facial animations right. And some of the ones that we've seen so far in the trailers and the gameplay have been fairly cringeworthy. So that's very concerning. There's even been some rumors coming out that they may delay the game again because in a recent conference call during some investment talk, some of the people at EA mentioned that they do have a clause in there where they can actually have another 5 months to finish up the game, which if there's bugs and glitches in it and they're still having issues with the facial animations, you'd think they might actually want to do that and make sure the game is as polished as it can be when it does come out. Another commenter compared the gameplay to Gears of War, which that was a bit of a turnoff for me, and I hope that's not true. They said that's the way the story and the campaign sort of works, so you kind of have something very similar to the recent Gears of War 4, which that doesn't really say RPG to me, because obviously Gears of War is more of an action shooter type game. They have said the combat is very good. It flows much more easily. It's much easier to switch between weapons and powers, and you can set up loadouts for your powers. They've completely done away with the class system for the most part, which I had some misgivings about initially, but I actually think it might be pretty cool now. It's going to allow people to have a much more diverse playstyle, though I think what's going to happen is a lot of people are going to find the really super awesome overpowered abilities very soon, and they're just going to stick with those, which might lead to some very boring gameplay. But overall, it looks pretty cool, and you still can go into some, like, when you get into the class system, like with Mass Effect 3, they have like the Adept Biotic class. You can actually get into that as like kind of an off class of what you're using, and like a profession. You can focus on that one area once you get some of your main powers unlocked. So I actually kind of like that system. I think that's pretty neat. Although, as a Mass Effect fan, combat is really the last thing I worry about with this series. I want to see the great narrative come through, the great story, the RPG, the amazing characters that made me fall in love with Mass Effect in general. I don't want to play Call of Duty in a Mass Effect environment or Gears of War or any of that. So the combat, I'm glad to hear it's good and it's very smooth, and it looked interesting in the gameplay videos I've seen so far. There are a few things, though, I have noticed. One, the squad AI still looks completely horrendous. There was a couple of gameplay videos they were doing where the player was taking cover and using cover to their advantage and jumping over cover and taking advantage of the environment, but the squad was still standing out in the open, getting shot relentlessly by the enemies. The enemy AI also looked pretty bad in some of the gameplay I've seen so far, where enemies are just standing right next to you and they don't even bother to attack you. There was this giant monster following the guy around the map in the one gameplay video, and it was right behind him and literally probably could have killed him or done something very damaging, and it just sat there and kind of kept walking around him like he wasn't even there. So there's definitely some problems and some issues with the gameplay that maybe they might get worked out before the game launches, but I don't know. We'll see what happens with that. But several people that played said, the gameplay experience is really good, the combat's really good, but so far the voice acting and the narrative bits of the story have not been that impressive, and that's something that really makes me feel bad about this game, because that's why I play Mass Effect. Like I said, I don't play Mass Effect to be a shooter. If I want to play an action-oriented game, I'll go play Call of Duty, I'll go play Warframe, I'll play Gears of War, I'll play Halo. There's countless other games that I can play to get that experience. With Mass Effect, like I said, it's about the story, it's about the narrative, the space opera, and they've got a huge, really great chance here to make a great game with an awesome story in this brand new world that can set itself apart. But so far, it seems like they're aiming for something more towards the general masses who don't want to have to think too hard when they're playing a game, and that was a problem that really plagued Destiny. I get reminders of Destiny all the time listening to some of the new stuff coming out about Andromeda, and Destiny apparently at one time, if you believe what's been put out there, had a really interesting story. It was very very unique, and then the higher ups got a hold of it and said, this is too complicated for the masses to understand, you got to dumb it down and make something that just your run-of-the-mill gamer is going to enjoy. That's really never been BioWare's thing, though, whether it's through Knights of the Old Republic or Dragon Age or even Mass Effect. So I really hope they're not going that route. But just really all the stuff I'm hearing through the gameplay impressions, the initial impressions of the game are not super promising. A lot of people even said it seems like a different game. It doesn't seem like a Mass Effect game, which, they're making so many changes to the combat system. I can see that. So for now, I still will wait around a little while. I don't think I'm going to get this game on day one. I definitely want to see what some of the reviews look like from some of the people that I trust a little bit more on YouTube and in other spaces. I have some friends who are going to be getting the game as well, so I'll have a chance to probably play it without buying it, too, or at least see what it looks like. So I'm still on the fence, which really sucks, because normally for a Mass Effect game, I would be super hyped and ready to buy it right now, but just seen a lot coming out, a lot of comments from the developers, a lot of the comments coming from the people that have played the game already that just have kind of led me to believe this is not going to be that great of a Mass Effect game. It might be a really good game, but I don't think it's going to be a great Mass Effect game as of right now. Now, obviously, I hope I'm wrong. As I said, I love Mass Effect, but when you love something, you're able to also openly criticize it objectively, and you're not going to be a fanboy and just say, oh god, buy the game, run out and get it right now, it's going to be incredible. I'd never tell anybody to do that. I think you need to wait and see what happens and make your own, justified decision. And then if you want to get the game, and hopefully it'll be good. So we'll see what happens. Anyways, guys, let me know if you've been watching any other stuff on Andromeda. Let me know what you think about what you've heard so far. If you are getting the game on day one, if you've pre-ordered it, hopefully you haven't, because there's really no reason to do so anymore, I guess, unless you wanted the collector's edition and that remote control Nomad. But just let me know what you think so far. Are you still excited for this game? Are you super hyped for this game? Are you definitely going to be getting it, or is it something you're going to wait and see on? Because that's the approach I'm kind of taking right now, is just kind of wait and see, because I see a lot of stuff with it that I kind of like, and I see a lot of stuff and I hear a lot of stuff and I'm just like, this game might not be that good. So I guess we'll see what happens. We've only got about a month to go, and there's probably going to be some more news coming out between now and then. I'm actually going to be trying to do a new series with Mass Effect as well that's going to take place in the lead up to Andromeda. A couple of my subscribers are kind of new to the series. They don't really understand what's happened in the past, but they're interested in getting Andromeda. And they suggested I do some videos talking about kind of the story and the lore behind the Mass Effect games moving up through to Andromeda. So what I'm probably going to do is what I'm going to try to call Mass Effect Monday, where every Monday I'm going to post a Mass Effect video, and I'm going to talk about my journey, my own personal journey through the Mass Effect universe. I'm probably going to do a video on the first game, the second game, and the third game, talk about the story, the elements, and the characters, and my experiences with it, and just kind of share that with you guys and those people out there who might be looking to pick up a little bit of insight on the story and what happened through the first trilogy. So look forward to that. I'm going to try to work on that this week, see if I can't get that done. Having a little bit more time, thankfully, to make some videos, so that should be pretty cool. Anyways, guys, that's going to do it for this video. I hope you've enjoyed it. Look forward to your comments down below. Hope you guys are having a great day. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you again next time.